Hi everyone, good morning. It's Margaret Manning here. Welcome to 60 in May. Welcome to a new day. Every morning I get up and feel so grateful that I am here having this opportunity to talk with you. And I just want to thank you all for being here, for showing up, just making this a part of your day, and for the great appreciation that you give to us at 60 and Me. I love reading your comments on our Facebook page and just on the website, and just really truly have gratitude for all that we've created together. I think it's been a wonderful journey, and I hope that you're finding value in it. But anyway, I'm starting my day as I always do with a cup of coffee or tea. Actually, today is tea. I'm trying something. I've had it before, but this is a different a variation. It's called Red Bush. It's by Twinings, Red Bush, if you can see that. But it's actually rooibos, which is this caffeine-free tea that comes from South Africa, and it's really, really tasty. So I'm trying my rooibos tea this morning. I've already had a couple of cups of coffee, to be honest, so I'm trying to keep a little low on the caffeine right now. So anyway, I hope that you're doing great and that you've got a drink or coffee or tea, something that just makes you feel relaxed and just ready for a new day. I want to talk to you though about something that I think we all think about, and kind of how we define our lives as we move forward in our 60s and our 70s. And actually we have someone in our 80s too. We have lots of people from a wide age range on 60 and Me. But I think it becomes pretty normal as we get older to think, I've done it all. I've done the travel, I've done the marriage, I've done the divorce, I've done the the moving, the relocating, and just to kind of get a little bit just feeling like it's all predictable, that you've done it all before. What's new? And so Jenny McReynolds, one of our bloggers, wrote this article on sort of how to challenge yourself for growth and happiness in your 60s, and not to fall into this this hole of just despair and that you've done it before. So how do you reinvent? How do you see things from a new perspective, and just make yourself feel like you're rediscovering things for the first time? That's how memories are formed. I was reading an article about this once, and it said that when we go through something for the first time, we create a memory marker. So it's something that makes it easy for it to remember. It's memorable. This is why I think hanging out with kids is so cool, because they just discover, like, oh my gosh, look at that. And then you go, wow, yeah, look at that. And in that new discovery, you create a fresh memory. That memory marker is really just good to, I think it's supposed to slow down time when you have these moments that you remember. Anyway, it's a separate issue, but basically what Jenny is saying is, don't be boring. Don't worry about getting old. Just worry about getting boring and being bored with yourself. I think that's where a lot of our loneliness and sense of isolation comes. So suggestions: learn something new. Get a magazine today that's on a topic that you've never read before. Just pick up a book on a subject that you've never learned anything about. Be adventurous in learning new things, even if it's just to learn 2 or 3 new words in another language. By the way, I was at a pottery class the other day. This is really cool. I went to this pottery class, and I could even show you my pots. I will in a second. And I was the only English-speaking person in the group. This has always been a problem for me in my place where I live. But I decided, I'll go, and I'll just hope I'll figure it out. And so it was a very warm day, and I was saying, the sun is hot. And the sun in German is the same as sun, just spelled differently. But I learned that hot is heiß. So I could say hot sun, or sun is hot, heiß. And then also I asked for the opposite, which is kalt. So cold. So cold in German is kalt. So kalt and heiß. So in one day I learned 2 new words. And actually, isn't it funny how I remembered them? Because I learned them in the context of something rather than just reading a book. So anyway, get out there and live your life and learn new things. It can invigorate you mentally, and also you'll meet new friends. It's a social stimulant as well, to learn new things. And sometimes you'll find people that are the most fascinating people just because they're doing something different than what you've normally done in your life. So even if you just do it one time, just go ahead and do it. Another thing is to travel alone. Now, as you know, I'm a big fan of solo travel. I've done it all my life, partly through circumstance, but also through choice. And I really love the sensation, personally, of getting on a a train or a bus or a plane and just going somewhere completely different, somewhere that I've never been before. And, just get off that train or bus or plane and walk out to this new world with big eyes and, an openness. And it's really, really fun. I find that really wonderful. It gives you a chance to kind of reflect on your own personality, how you're dealing with situations, maybe the fears that you're feeling, a little nervous, or just that kind of excitement about discovering something. I remember once for my birthday a few years ago, I went to a nunnery and I decided I wanted to have a retreat for my birthday and just be alone and just sit there and read and relax. And I thought it would be kind of strange, but it was up in the mountains, and it took me like 3 bus rides to get there. I had to keep changing buses. It kept winding up. And then I got to this place and it was spectacular. It was actually on the pilgrim's route, so there were lots of people who were walking along the mountainside. And I stayed there for just 2 days, but I had breakfast and lunch and dinner with the nuns, and I just met some amazing people. Anyway, so that's just, just conversations with strangers can open up new parts of your own heart. I know that we've talked about this, and our women do love it. Now, if you don't like to travel alone, go alone with a friend, just the 2 of you or 3 of you, and just make it your journey. I think that's really kind of a cool way to challenge yourself. Then do something that scares you. This is one of Ginny's pieces of advice. Plenty of opportunities here to do this. Mountain climbing, hiking, things that really are not my natural thing. I'm a city girl, and being in the country, not my most comfortable situation. I don't like going into forests alone, but I do try now to go for walks by myself and just, what's the worst that's going to happen? I mean, I suppose I could bump into a bear or a fox or some creature, but the likelihood of that is so remote. And I just every now and again I think need to do things. Don't have to be big things. It could just be trying a new food, or a new going to a new exercise group, or just something that makes you a little bit nervous and makes you realize how strong you can be. Seriously, I mean, you don't have to be, walking tight ropes or doing anything that is putting your life in danger, but just taking that little stretch that seems impossible. Singing in a choir, going to a meeting with people that you don't know, trying a new dance class, going to a pottery class. I'd never done one before. Oh, I show you my pots. Okay, so here, just to quickly show you. This was fun. This is it's a thing called raku. And raku is where you put a glaze on a little pot, and then you put the pot into a kiln, and then the kiln heats it up. You take the pot out, put it into sawdust, and then the sawdust kind of catches fire in the places where there's glaze and makes the glaze strong. Now, this is probably not going to be terribly easy to show you, but it's just a little bowl, and this was my first one. Well, nothing too spectacular, but it was kind of fun. And so this was the part that was white but didn't have any glaze, so it then got black. And then this one was kind of fun. I made a complete mess of this one. It didn't really work. Well, you can see there are some nice little touches in there, but I decided this one to be different and do things on the back. It wasn't the normal way to do raku, but anyway, I did have fun with it, and I did learn lots about the process, and I'm going to go back and try it again, and you do even better. But just do stuff that you're afraid to fail at. You're not afraid to fail at. I failed abysmally, but I don't care. It was fun. Another thing is to have a long, this is one that Ginny mentions, and I really like this one, have an overdue conversation. Now, this may be one of those that makes you scared, because it may be someone or a conversation that you don't want to have. But if there's something bugging you, another way to challenge yourself to sort of just bring happiness into your life is to close unfinished business. Just talk to someone that you have something on your mind about. Say it. Just say it. Don't be mean and just say, I really have been meaning to have this conversation with you, and can we talk about this? And I think that's a really good way, as Jenny says, to take the relationship deeper and to make you feel better. So having that conversation, that overdue conversation. Another thing she talks about is abandoning an old story. Now, there's some stories that allow you that you allow yourself to be excuses for not doing things. You know, I'm never going to do this again because this happened to me. And you know, I could, for example, and I'd be personal here. I lost my mom when she was 50. I was quite young, and I have used the excuse that I never learned how to cook because my mom died before she could teach me. I've always said that, and it's a stupid thing to say because it had nothing to do with her, really. I mean, she was a great cook, and I really wish that she'd been there to actually teach me some of her recipes, but you know, I can't hold that excuse up all the time. You know, I could say I broke my ankle 3 times, so I'm never going to walk again, or I'm never going to run again. But, you know, that wasn't my ankle's fault. I broke my ankle because I was careless, and they were just accidents. But it's like you can use these stories to kind of bring drama to your life. Like, oh my gosh, I broke my ankle 3 times, as if it's something that makes a difference. I mean, it just was what happened. You know what I'm saying? So I think, you know, you could say your parents were divorced or you were divorced, and so ... But I think that what Jenny's saying, I agree, is let it go. Just let it go. You know, let that story go. Abandon old stories. I like how she puts that. Actually, I think that's a really cool way of saying it. So abandon old stories. Now, another thing is to live a truth that you've been denying. Now, this is a really tough one. If you have certain things that bother you or that upset you, I think you have to be honest with yourself about it. For example, I'm a bit of an introvert. Surprisingly enough, I mean, I love talking to you like this. I'm quite an extrovert on camera, but in my life, I'm quite an introvert. And I've had to come to grips with that. You know, how do I live between wanting to be alone, wanting to travel alone, be quiet, and then also being a spokesperson for 60andMe and for our community. So it's like, I think that the point she's making here is that there are truths about us, about our personality, that we may have to just put to one side, you know, but be true to it. Know that it's there. Don't be sad about it. Don't be upset about it. Just let yourself be who you are. And it's really funny. I just saw a poster the other day. I don't know whether this has happened in the States, because I know a lot of you are in the States, but unicorns are so big over here right now. I don't know why. I went to this shop just to look at the Christmas decorations, believe it or not, that are popping up. And there was this sign, and it says something like, always be yourself. But if you can be a unicorn, always be a unicorn. And I guess there's something about the magical, mystical possibility of unicorns and all the mythology around them that make it so popular. But I guess that's what it is that, you know, there's ways that you can challenge yourself, of course, to be something more than who you are. Bring out that side of yourself. But there's a truth, there's an inner truth about who you are too. You have to just live with that. But I hope this has helped you to maybe get some inspiration for how to challenge yourself and to be happy and, you know, fulfilled in your 60s, how to do stuff that you might fail at, how to get out there and travel or be by yourself, how to face your fears. Well, I hope this has been motivational. I actually get as much out of these chats as you do, because I'm saying the words about myself and learning too. So I'd love to know from you though, what story about your life is no longer true? You know, what story have you been telling the world that you don't think is true any longer? You're ready to let go. Leave your comments in the section below. Let's have a conversation, have a chat, and I'll join in with you. And thank you again for being here from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate it. You know, tell your friends about 60andMe. Welcome them to come over and join us. And tell me about a story in your life that you know, you're not telling anymore, that you don't think is any longer true. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk again soon. Bye-bye for now.